And now is the time for us to prepare our hearts during this 6 weeks before Christmas to receive this birth of the Christ consciousness that brings us ever nearer to our soul's destiny of conscious divinity and oneness with God. And this is the hope and the promise of Christmas, to idealize what the Christ makes possible for each and every one of us, that of taking conscious steps toward our spiritual mastery and the blossoming of our soul, to realize the vast potentials of the Christ pattern through our living and our growing awareness and communion with the eternal. This morning we'll discuss 4 possible realizations this Christmas season. The experience of the birth of the Christ consciousness in ever greater and expansive ways, to be initiated and empowered toward more dedicated, Christed living, to experience redemption and transformation, to experience greater peace and inner stillness. How will this Advent and Christmas be new for you? And what are your hopes for its fulfillment? What spiritual incentives and empowerments are you open to receive? And how much of yourself will you give to the Christ, for the Christ archetype to be awakened within you? And these are questions to deeply ponder and consider while we prepare our hearts to receive. And if you have ever known a real Christmas, you are changed permanently. And that is the possibility before us. For the Christ is the personification of all that is possible. And it is his great influence that enlivens our soul to come to the foreground of our living. And this is a time of great initiatory powers, tremendous incentives to awaken, enlighten, and to transform our consciousness. Powers from heaven to birth a new awakening and a more expansive emergence into God's flowering activity in us. The Christ can be seen as the Star of Bethlehem. It's leading us to the birth of the Christ archetype within, the birth of fulfillment of what is possible. Across the desert and emptiness of our former selves, we follow his star of holiness toward the light of divine possibilities that are yet to be realized. And our hearts become the manger of his birth as we grow to become more fully awakened sons and daughters of God. And Christmas symbolizes this birth of awakenment, this birth of fulfillment. And it is the most powerful spiritual baptism we could ever experience.